the Person County Cooperative Extension Service and the Person County Health Department join forces every year, typically in June, to start up our next round of diabetes prevention program. So throughout the month of May, we've hosted little info sessions throughout several days to kind of talk about this program and to give a little bit of information. We usually try to start this program at the beginning of June, or at least in the middle of June. So we still have hopes to do that, but we still have a couple of open spots in our class for this year. So I want to kind of give some information and share a, uh, a little bit of a presentation with you all to see if you're interested in participating in our diabetes prevention program. We sometimes call it diabetes prevention program. We call it Life in 24. We call it Prevent T2. It just depends on, our funding source or the curriculum or whatever we're talking about. But we're all talking about the same thing if you hear me say that. What is the Life in 24 program, or the diabetes prevention program? It is a program to help you learn how to lead a healthier life. Trained lifestyle coaches, such as myself, help class members lower their chance of developing diabetes by helping them decrease their weight, by being physically active, as well as eating a little bit healthier. And they learn to overcome a variety of barriers that are associated with healthy eating and being physically active. There are two goals throughout the program that we ask the participants to work towards. Lose 5 to 7% of their starting body weight and do moderate physical activity for 150 minutes per week. Now, this is, again, not something we expect you to start and you achieve within the first month or a couple of months or whatever else, but this is a longer program. And so you have time to work towards these two goals, but it's an individual thing. I mean, we work together as a class setting, but you are working on your goals. Everyone else has the same goals, but you're on a different journey. You start at different weights. You have, different struggles or barriers that you each have to overcome. And we're going to help you, give you information to overcome those barriers and learn about healthy eating and physical activity. Throughout the program, we teach you not just about eating healthy and about being physically active. That's a main component of the program, but we're going to talk to you about self-monitoring. So every class that we have is, getting on that scale, weighing yourself, but also tracking your food, tracking your physical activity. So we give you a food log, and we ask you to start off pretty basic, just writing down what you're eating. And then we eventually get you a little bit more detail. Give me some calorie information, be a little bit more specific. Don't just say sandwich. Tell me what's on the sandwich, how big of a sandwich is this, details. We teach you about having positive thoughts, about problem solving, about managing stress, because stress can railroad us all on our goals for being healthier. This is not a diet program. We do not promote any diets. We do not encourage that. But this is a long-term lifestyle change program. So we're going to give you tips and tools and tricks to kind of help you learn what you can do to change your lifestyle for the better and for the long term, and how to stay motivated, the importance of sleep. I mean, there's so many different topics that we talk about. The diabetes prevention program, we use a curriculum called Prevent T2. We want to prevent type 2 diabetes. And this curriculum is from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. It's an evidence-based curriculum. So no matter, how we teach it is the exact same way the person in California teaches it, or person in Maine teaches it. You are going to get this curriculum, and there's a certain kind of, script or guidelines that we have to follow. And it's a very effective curriculum. This curriculum has been around for over a decade, and results have shown that participants can decrease their risk of developing type 2 diabetes. They can cut it in half. In fact, people who've just, been put on medication or who've been given a little bit of information, they don't do as well as, people who come through this program. So this program has been shown to do better than even just being on diabetes medication alone. And it also is just losing that 5 to 7% body weight can make a big impact. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of weight. In fact, for someone who's 200 pounds, just losing 10 pounds is your 5% weight loss right there. So we can all stand to lose usually a little bit of weight. So to participate in our diabetes prevention program, there are a couple of little things, eligibility requirements. So it's not just open to everyone. Okay. So first of all, I'll start off with kind of the part in red there. If you've ever been diagnosed with diabetes, you are not eligible to participate in this program. This is a diabetes prevention program. Now, the Extension Office and the Health Department do have other programs or curriculum and information to share with you if you have already been diagnosed as a diabetic, but this is not the program for you. It's part of the requirements from the CDC that you cannot already be diabetic. It's to prevent diabetes. But other than that, you have to be 18 years of age, have a body mass index of 25 or higher. We can calculate that for you. If you contact us and you give us your height and your weight, we can tell you if you qualify. And then you need to have another caveat. So there's a couple of ors here. So you either can have had gestational diabetes, which is diabetes while you're pregnant. If you have that, you qualify. If you have already been labeled as pre-diabetic, or you are considered to be at risk for diabetes. Now, the way that we determine that is by a blood test. You can either have a fasting blood glucose test done or an A1C done. If you have either of those and it falls within the range, then you can qualify for that. We also have a pre-diabetes risk test, a kind of a form that you can fill out and answer some questions. And if you get a high enough score, you can also qualify. Again, you can call us and we can help you with that risk test, and we can take the information and calculate your BMI, as well as we can, if you have your blood test work, then we can look at those numbers and see if that as well. So when we're looking at our numbers, I know it's probably hard a little bit to see this, but let me see if I can zoom it in a little bit there. But to be considered to be pre-diabetic, your fasting blood glucose needs to be between 101 and 125. Okay. Your A1C can be between 5.7 and 6.4. If it's below that, you are not pre-diabetic. If it's above that, you are officially diabetic. So it has to be within that range, either with the blood test or the A1C, or if you've already had gestational diabetes. One of those kind of numbers needs to fall within that range. You need to have already been gestational diabetes, or we can qualify people with a paper risk test form. Again, contacting us and we'll give you that information at the end there. Okay. So what is our program and how is it set up? Well, it is a year-long program. And so before you get scared about that, just listen and we'll explain how it's kind of broken out. We start off a little bit more intensive, where we're meeting every week for 16 weeks. So the first 4 months of the program, you meet every week. We call these our core sessions. It's where you're going to get the main meat of the program. Then we go to the next 4 months and we only meet twice a month during those sessions. And then we go to the last 4 months of the program and we only meet once a month. So it equals out to, I think it's about 29 sessions that we have scheduled. All classes are just 1 hour. We do it from 12 to 1 o'clock on Thursday. So if you do work, you are eligible to hopefully, come during your lunch hour and attend our class. If you have to miss a session due to, vacation or something like that, we do require that you make up the missed session. And we have it kind of set up so that, our classes are from 12 to 1. If you miss that session, you would come the next week at 11 o'clock and you do the makeup, and then you'd have that week's session. So that's kind of how is it set up. If you need specific dates, again, we're looking at starting at the beginning of June, but we still need a couple more people to have enough for the class. But we are still working on our numbers. So it could be the middle of June is when we get started, but we could give you those dates if you're interested in that. So the expectations we've had, I've kind of already mentioned most of them, is committed to attending these sessions. We understand things come up, but it doesn't need to be that you're missing a class for things that you can reschedule. This needs to be a priority on your calendar. and making sure that because you're going to get the most information when you're there with the entire group as opposed to a makeup. So being committed to attending the sessions, if you do have to miss some, making those up, and then working towards those goals. It's not just enough to show up. You have to work towards the goal of losing 5 to 7% of your body weight. And one of the ways you do that is by becoming physically active for 150 minutes per week. Filling out your logs. We ask you to turn in your food logs and your physical activity logs so we can see if the scale isn't, if the weight's not going down on the scale, we can look at these and maybe determine why. We do have a small registration fee of $25, but for 29 sessions, $25 is a steal that you're getting here. We thankfully have some regional collaborative funding that we are able to get that price down so low. Normally, if we were going to offer this program without the grant funding that we have available, it would be about $300 to $400 because you're getting a lot of information, you're getting a lot of material, as well as you're getting incentives. Throughout this entire program, we have a variety of different incentives. We give them out throughout the program. We don't tell you what they are, and we don't tell you when we're going to give them. It's kind of a surprise. But several of the incentives, even just one alone is worth $25 or more. So you're definitely going to get your money back just from the incentives. And these incentives are going to help you on your journey. So just kind of a reminder, this is not a diet or an exercise program. It's a lifestyle change program. We only are allowed to have 12 people at maximum to participate in this program, but we want at least 10. So we still need, a couple more people so that we can start this year's class on time. If you have any other questions, again, we're hoping to start at the beginning of June or by the middle of June. These are our phone numbers. I'm Jennifer Brown at the Extension office. You can call me to talk with me about this program. You can also call Leanne Cresson at the Person County Health Department. Either one of us can give you the risk test. We can take your blood work numbers. We can take your height and your weight to calculate your BMI. And we can talk to you a little bit more about the program. And we can even share some other information. So please feel free to reach out to us as soon as possible to let us know if you are interested in participating in this year's diabetes prevention program. So I've thrown a lot of information out to you. If you can't come to that diabetes prevention program, or if you are already a diabetic, I want to, just before I leave, mention this last program. So this program is a chronic disease program or a nutrition program for adults. It's only an 8-week program. So this is where I tell people, if you already have diabetes, then come to this one. This is one of the ones that we have for you. We're going to give you information each session about being mindful, about physical activity, about staying away from fat and salt and sugar, and I'll help you prevent or manage a chronic illness. It's going to be Thursdays starting June 23rd through August 11th at 2 to 3 p.m. at the Person County Senior Center. You can call Alex at the Senior Center to get your name on the registration list, or you can, if you're calling me about other programs, you can do that as well. It is free to attend this program, and we hope to see you at some of our programs over throughout the month of June. We're still doing our lunch and learns virtually and in person. We're going to be talking about the importance of getting a good night's sleep in June, about building a healthy beverage so you can drink more in July, and in August, we are planning our Aging with Gusto conference, which I'll give you more information about at one of our future Gardener's Corners program. Thank you so much for watching today.